So we are ready to start. Welcome to this webinar. It is dedicated to the behavior-driven development concept, more exactly applying this behavior-driven development concept with Java and with Cucumber. We'll see what behavior-driven development means, we'll see what Cucumber is, and we'll see how to apply everything in practice. Our plan includes some presentation and discussion of the concepts. And then we'll look to some practice. We alternate between the concepts presentation and the practice. We'll have some application that is designed using the older TDD or test-driven development concept. We will see how to easily move it to BDD, behavior-driven development, which the difference between TDD and BDD is, and which advantages BDD provides. So we'll present here our objectives for this workshop. You will understand the fundamentals of behavior-driven development. You will understand the basics of Cucumber, and we'll see in practice how to develop a Java BDD application using Cucumber. Who is targeted by this workshop? First, the developers who are new to BDD. This means that you are already a Java developer. You have at least 1 year of experience. You have written some code. And now you would like to understand what BDD means and which the advantages of BDD are. You would like to improve the way you are designing your applications. Or it is possible that you have some understanding of BDD besides the previous experience in Java, and you would like to work with Cucumber. We'll show how to put in practice BDD using Cucumber. Also, this workshop targets testers who need to automate a part of their activity. Testers or eventually business analysts, because you are going to see that there are pieces into the BDD development that do not need so deep technical understanding. You will be able to cooperate into a BDD project even without understanding the depth of the Java coding. So we would like to show the road to behavior-driven development. And there is already a pretty long time known practice and the concept of test-driven development. You may have encountered it. We have followed here at Luxoft some courses and webinars regarding TDD. This is a very good technique, but it comes with some limitation. It starts from the idea of test code refactor cycle. What does it mean? So the TDD concept means that first of all, when you are developing something, you need to write a test to fail because you haven't written the code yet. Then the second step will mean that you have to write the smallest piece of code that will address that test. So the code will be designed, written in order to fix the test. Then you may refactor your application. You may refactor the code you have written, but you are going to rely on the previously existing tests so that you are sure that you are doing the thing right. This is a very good technique, but we take a look at the limitations. Tests are tightly coupled to the implementation. So as the cycle above shows, you test, you write the test, you write the code, you refactor, and again. your focus will be mostly on the method or class that is tested. So you have to understand clearly what the method or class is doing in order to be able to test it. This means that the business goals are neglected. As a developer, you may not know much about the business goals, so you cannot answer so easily to a very simple question. What is my application intending to do? What's the business goal of my application? So we are making the step towards behavior-driven development. This is a methodology that originates in test-driven development. And besides this, its main focus is to directly satisfy the business requirements. You are not only driven by the tests and by doing the thing right, but you are also driven by the behavior, by the business goals. So this means that when you are developing, your focus will be on adding business value to the application. You may have a perfectly working application, but as long as you are not addressing real business needs, there may be problems. The customer, the user will always like that your application is addressing the business needs. Another advantage is that it facilitates the communication between the business analyst and the developer. This means that the two sides, the developer and the business analyst, will be able to discuss in terms of business goals. What is the application what does the application need to do? What's our goal? What do we have to satisfy? So, besides what TD was doing to do the thing right, behavior-driven development makes sure that you are doing the right thing. Make sure that you are addressing the business needs. And here we are showing the description of some requirements. You may have seen this already, especially if you are working in an agile environment. We are using this as a I want to, so that. And here we have two examples that will match what we are going to do in practice. Say here that as a usual customer, I want to get an economy credit offer so that I can apply for it. This is the terminology as a I want to, so that. And we have here the clear description of the functionality of the application. And a second description of the requirement. As a VIP customer, I want to get a business credit offer so that I can apply for it. This is another scenario, but the mechanisms are the same. And we look here at the scenarios. We presume here that we have a few possibilities. We have a bank application and it is providing some credit offers. The credit offers are of two types. First type is economy credit offer. And when you would like to add the customer to this credit offer, you have to answer this question. Is the credit offer economy? Yes. Then you approve the request. Otherwise, if the credit economy is not, if the credit offer is not economy, you have to check if the customer is VIP, and it is only the VIP customer that can apply for such a request. Otherwise, the request is rejected. So we have two types of credit offers, economy and business, and two types of customers, usual ones and VIP ones. And we also have some logic to remove the customer from some credit offer. Here, we have to answer only one question. Is the customer VIP? Here. If the customer is VIP, we cannot remove him from the credit offer, so the request is rejected. The request to remove the customer is rejected. Otherwise, we can remove the customer from the credit offer. So we see here that we do have some logic. We do have some conditional logic, because you see that we have here some decisions to make. We have to answer some questions, both for adding a customer and for removing a customer from the offer. This is our logic. It is still simple business logic, but we would like to match our application on this business logic. And in order to do this, we are going to show our application. We are moving now to some part of the practical demonstration. So we'll have to get familiar a little with the classes that are included into our project. So we have this credit offer class. We see that this credit offer class is abstract, meaning it cannot be instantiated, but it is designed in order to become the basis of some hierarchy. For each credit offer, we have an ID and a customer list. Oh, I understand that you cannot see. Let me just a moment. Okay, please write to me if now you can see. Okay, great, thank you. Sorry for that. Okay, so we're saying that we are looking now here at the classes that are composing our application. And we see here that we have a credit offer, a class that is abstract, because it is designed to be the basis of some hierarchy, and otherwise we would like not to allow it to be instantiated. And each credit offer has an ID and the customers list that have been added for it. And we are providing these two methods, add customer and remove customer, which are abstract, and we would like them to be implemented at a lower level, at the level of the subclasses. Let's see now these subclasses. We have this economy credit offer, which is extending the credit offer. And it says like this: if you would like to add the customer, you can simply add this customer to the list. So we see here that the logic says that is the credit offer economy? Okay, you approve the request without any other problem. If you would like to remove the customer here from the list of the customers that have applied to this credit offer, you can remove it only if that customer is not a VIP. Then you simply return the result of customer list.remove. Otherwise, you cannot remove that customer from this list. And we see that it corresponds to this logic. Okay, and we go here to the business credit offer, and we see if we would like to add a customer to a business credit offer, we can add it only if it is a VIP, otherwise we disallow such a thing. This corresponds to the logic from here. The credit offer is not economy, then we have to check if the customer is VIP or not. And here we provide remove customer, and we say, okay, from this business credit offer, we cannot remove a customer any longer. Let's have a look at this customer class as well. It is a very simple class. We may say that it is a POJO. So it has two private fields, name and VIP, string name and Boolean VIP, and some constructor here and some getters. And we would like to understand how our application is working. We are at the level of the TDD style developing. We have written here a test that is called bank test. And we see that we have here 1, 2, 3, 4 tests. This is the fourth test. Why 4 tests? Why this number? It is not just a random number, but it has resulted as a fact that we have 2 credit offers and 2 types of customers. So 2 credit offers multiplied by 2 types of customers, we have 4 possible tests. And if we take a look at their names, we see that they are somehow speaking for themselves. We see here that we have a test called Test Economy Credit Offer Usual Customer. And we will understand that we match this economy credit offer with this usual customer. Here we have Test Economy Credit Offer VIP customer. So we match the economy credit offer and the VIP customer. We go further and we have here Test Business Credit Offer Usual customer. And we have the last one, Test Business Credit Offer VIP customer. So this number of 4 tests is logic. It represents the matching between 2 credit offers and 2 types of customers. And in order to understand what the test is doing, so let's take the first one. We see here some credit offer and some customer that are created, and we are trying to add the customer to the economy credit offer list. We verify that it is there. Then we verify that it is Mike that we have added here. Then we would like to extract it. We would like to understand that it has already been extracted, and after having been extracted, that we have no more customers on the list. So we see here that we are pretty tightly coupled to the methods provided by our API. Of course, we have chosen these very significant method names that we have emphasized, so that we understand easier, quicker what it is about. But this is just a choice from ourselves, and there are still method names. We have to take a closer look at them. And we may say that this is something that was used in the early days of TDD, when people have started to realize that TDD is a good thing, but it is not enough it is not enough for addressing the business needs. Here we may say that we have some simulation of addressing business needs by simply emphasizing these names, but simply using these names so that the user, the developer, the test in fact, will understand what it is about. The developer that will execute this test will have to understand that it is a matching between the two credit offers and the two customer types. Let's see if we run here our application. We see that the tests are green. This is very well. This means that we have correctly designed and developed our application. But if we look here, we see one test under the other one, and we can read the same way as we have read here what it is about. So this way of working TDD is good, but it's not fully satisfactory. Let's have a look at what other alternatives we have. We are making some steps towards behavior-driven development. And before introducing Cucumber, we would like to show how the JUnit 5 new features are helping us to be able to get closer to BDD, to be able to show some scenarios, to be able to communicate our business goals. Into this second application that we have called Bank Application BDD first step, we have the same hierarchy of classes. So our classes, our business logic is unchanged. Which is the big change here? The big change is at the level of the automatic testing. We see here that we still have this bank test, but at the very first glance, you see that it does not look like the previous existing one. We see here that we have one class here, four methods with their names. We have only this test annotation for each of the methods, while here the situation is completely different. We have a top level class. We have inner classes here. So inside the bank test class, we have economy credit offer test class. And you see that it is marked as nested. And here we have another nested class, which is business credit offer test. And this is not everything. Inside each class of this kind, we still have nested class, this one and this one. So at the third level, so this is the first level, testing level, this is the second level, this is the third level. We have two classes here into economy credit offer test, and we have two classes here into business credit offer test. So again, 4. This number 4 has resulted as a consequence of the fact that we have two types of customers and two types of credits. So two types of credits multiplied by two types of customers. In total, we do have 4 test classes. What else very important we see here? we see that we have used this display name annotation, and it is used in many places. It is used at the level of the classes, and it is also used at the level of the methods. We try a first reading of what we are testing, and we read only the display names of the first test. It says here, given there is an economy credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economy credit offer. This already sounds like a natural language. And if we go back here, we see that this is a way to write automated acceptance tests. In general, we have a feature where we describe what we would like to implement there. It says customers policy. The bank follows a policy of adding and removing customers depending on the credit offer type and on the customer type. And then we may have a few scenarios. Scenarios mean here, a scenario means that we match one credit offer type with one customer type. Economy credit offer, usual customer. And a scenario uses these keywords given, when, then, that we have already emphasized. We write here, given there is an economy credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economy credit offer. So you can read in plain English what it is intended to do. You can communicate your business goals, and they may be easily understood even by less technical people. Now, if we go back to this test, we see here again that we have this given there is an economy credit offer. When we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economy credit offer. So we have the same strategy of describing our scenarios using the given, when, then keywords. In fact, what we are testing here is the same business logic as before. What we have changed at the level of describing the tests. So you see here that we are getting closer to the natural language. We see here these phrases that we are allowed to insert as arguments of this display name annotation. We still have 4 tests that correspond to this 1, 2, 3, 4 methods. But instead of saying test economy credit offer usual customer, we are dividing this to say some preconditions, given there is an economy credit offer, some action, we have a VIP customer, and some result that is expected. Then you can add him, but cannot remove him from an economy credit offer. So you see that we have more clarity in what we are saying. It is easier to follow than in the case of these 4 methods that are inside one single class. We may say that this is a flat test. Here we do have some hierarchical test. Let's do some checking. Let's see how this JUnit 5 works. We have run this test. Okay, the tests are green. But what it is very, very important, I will open everything from here and you will see that you can easily follow the scenarios and you can easily understand what is going on in plain English. Let's take some other scenario from the first one that we have shown. Let's say given there is an economy credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economy credit offer. This speaks by itself, and you see here that it is very, very easy to follow. I will run again this previous test, and now you can have a better comparison of how these results of the testing look like and how these ones look like. You can immediately understand what it is about, what the business goal is, what you are following, what you are trying, and what you are expecting. Now, we may ask ourselves, or you may ask, is this BDD? Not exactly, not fully BDD, but we may say that we have made some steps towards BDD. We have made some steps towards TDD in the sense that we are clearly showing our business goals and we are following our business goals. You know what you are doing and what you are expecting. You are focused on doing the right thing. So if it is not yet BDD or is some incipient form of BDD, you may ask what still needs to be done. And we have prepared here some new example. Here we are introducing Cucumber because our workshop is also about Cucumber. What we have here, we have the same classes. Our application is the same. We are varying the way we are testing it. What we see here, first of all, is a Cucumber feature file. We see here in plain English and very easy to understand, but in more extent to what we have shown here. So we still have one feature and 1, 2, 3, 4 scenarios. Four scenarios meaning 4 credit offer types. 2 credit offer types multiplied by 2 customer types. But here we read in plain English what we are trying to say. Yes. We are reading in plain English what we are trying to say. And we may ask ourselves, is this Java code? Of course, it is not Java code. But as it is not Java code, it is much easy to be described, much easy to be implemented by a business analyst, by a tester, or in general by a non-technical person. You don't have to be a programmer in order to participate to the development of an application. You can come with your understanding of the business rules, of the business goals, or you may come with your understanding as a tester. You don't have to be a Java programmer, but you can contribute and communicate. Communication is essential in the development of any project. So you can communicate with the developers and tell them which the business goals are. And the best way to clearly explain which the business goals are is to provide scenarios, saying we do have this and this, and we do some action, and we are expecting something, meaning exactly this given, when, then keywords. Okay, we have this feature with 4 scenarios, and we may presume that they have been provided by the business analyst. We have to implement this test. How do we do this with Cucumber? So this is a Cucumber feature file, and we see that it is located here into resources, features, and we have named it customer-policy feature. So we have a feature file, and in order to run the test, we will need to have this Cucumber test already there. It says run with cucumber.class. This is what is called the JUnit 5 extension. And what is also important that it is said, it says look on the class path into the features folder. If we run now, is it a test? Yes, it is. It is a test, but is it doing anything? No. It is running, but it says, oh, there are some steps here. And you see that they are corresponding to the initially given, when, then, from here. But you haven't yet implemented these steps. So if the business analyst has done his or her job to do this, to create these features, to provide the business goals understanding, now it is the time that the programmer will take over and will implement what it is here. How can we do this? In order to work easily with this features file, we have to go here into project structure, and we'll see here, no, I think it's in settings. Just a moment. Here in plugins, we have activated 2 plugins, Cucumber for Java and Gherkin. In fact, Cucumber is the framework. Cucumber is the BDD framework that is helping us, and Gherkin is this language used by Cucumber that is allowing us to follow this syntax. Okay, we see that we have to implement some methods. I will press here Alt-Enter, create step definition, and we'll call this customer policy, the new Java class that will implement the test. Has to be here. So we do have a test, an incipient test, and we see here that the first test is say, given there is economy credit offer, we have this annotation. This annotation given is from Cucumber now. This is the first annotation that we are introducing. The test is empty, but it has this annotation. If we go here, we see that, look, the Cucumber plugin has detected that this method is already implemented, so it no longer highlights it. But the effective implementation is still missing. We are going to take care immediately of its implementation. Let's take care to create all step definition into the same file. Of course, for now, we do have only dummy methods, but we see that they are clearly labeled given when, then. They correspond to these steps, and we see here that the Cucumber plugin has detected that there is no more any other step to be implemented. And let's see how to implement them. We are going to take advantage, we are going to look into, for the speed, we are going to use the already implemented code from here. We are going to read the annotation says, given there is an economy credit offer. So we need here this economy credit offer. And we will need to initialize it here. There is an economy credit offer. Look, when we have a usual customer, so we need a usual customer, which is the usual customer is Mike. So we have to introduce Mike into our scenario. Mike is usual customer. Then you can add and remove him from an economy credit offer. We will extract immediately this logic. What we have done so far, we have addressed this first scenario, economy credit offer usual customer. Given there is economy credit offer, when we have a usual customer, then you can add and remove him from an economy credit offer. Can we run this? Yes, also from the already existing Cucumber test. Let's say that we run this. Oh, good news. This scenario is working fine. We see all steps are green. Of course, we still have to focus on the implementation of the missing steps, but it is clear that we are on the good way. We have started to use Cucumber Gherkin in BDD style and to verify our application from the point of view of the business goals. Let's see which the remaining steps, unimplemented steps are. When we have a VIP customer, so who is the VIP customer? John is the VIP customer. And we are declaring and initializing John here. Then you can add him, but can't remove from an economy credit offer. This is the condition of VIP customer that can be added but cannot be removed. Let's do some more testing to see if we are on the good way. Great. 2 scenarios are here, green. Let's follow what we still have to do. We still have 3 more steps. Given there is a business credit offer, so which the business credit offer is, we have to take it, to declare and to initialize it. Then you cannot add or remove him from a business credit offer. It's this piece of code referring to a usual customer and business credit offer. Then you can add him but cannot remove him from a business credit offer, corresponds to this already implemented piece of code from the previous tests. And here, let's see how things are working. So we see that we have fixed all tests, and more important, we have worked BDD style with the help of Cucumber. You can easily read scenarios. Let's take another one. Given there is a business credit offer, when we have a VIP customer, then you can add him but cannot remove him from a business credit offer. Everything in plain English. So this looks much better than the point where we have started from. I remind you that we have started with these kinds of methods. What is still remarkable and what is additional to what we have done here in our second step? I remind you that here we were saying that we are in the situation of some incipient BDD working way, and which is the benefit of moving to Cucumber and to pure BDD. First of all, you see that we have this feature file that is non-Java code. So any tester or any business analyst can read, can describe, can discuss with the programmer. We need to do this, and we are expecting these results. Everything is concentrated into this feature file. And I've showed that this Cucumber plugin will provide us the possibility to run directly feature files. We can run directly feature files, so if we are not a technical person, or if we would like to shorten to have some very quick results that we would like to see, we can run this directly. Of course, we may run this customer policy from Java, but not necessarily. This may be reserved to the people that understand coding. If we have a look more on what the benefits are from using Cucumber and pure BDD, if we have a look here at the length of the test, let's say we have 86 lines of coding here, And here we do have 119, and I remind you that we are doing absolutely the same thing. We are doing absolutely the same testing. Where does the difference come from? The difference comes from the fact that here you see we have some code that is repeated. We are doing some double initialization. We have some pyramid of inner classes, while here now we have a flat way of working with annotated methods, and we have a one-to-one correspondence from these annotated methods here from the class to these classes. So if we have here given there is an economy credit offer, and here we have a given there is an economy credit offer, we don't duplicate the code. We just have a look here, and this given there is an economy credit offer is written only once. It may appear 10 times here in the scenarios. While here, we see that we are doing this setup here with the economy credit offer, and we are doing Mike and John here, and Mike and John here. So there are some code duplications. We cannot avoid them fully. And this, as a consequence, is the reduction of code, while we say again, we are doing the same thing. So in terms of percents, it is a pretty good reduction from 119 lines to only 86 lines. So good reduction in terms of lines of code. What we should add? We may be concerned about the quality of our tests. We still have something to tell about this. You may ask yourself, or you may have heard about this code coverage as a metric of the quality of the tests. What's the code coverage? It's a measure used to describe the degree to which the source code of a program is executed when a particular test suite runs. More exactly, you may ask ourselves, how much code coverage should we have? Which percentage is feasible? And I will tell you that in most cases, when you work most likely with a customer, 80% is an absolute must. It may be included into what's called definition of done in Agile. It says 80% of code coverage is minimum. We cannot accept less than this. More than this, let's say 90% is in most cases feasible, but you may be required to do some extra work, to do some artifices, to do some efforts to push towards this 90%. 100% would be ideal. It is not always feasible, but we should keep in mind that we may try, at least we may try to push as close as 100%. Let's see how our code is covered from all three versions. Say here, run bank test with coverage. We have 100%, 4 classes, 12 methods, 24 lines of code. We run this test with coverage. 100%, 4 classes, 12 methods, 24 lines of code. Last one, the one that is pure BDD. We say run Cucumber test with coverage. What are we getting here? 4 classes, 12 methods, 24 lines of code, 100%. May we conclude that our tests are perfect, that we shouldn't worry about anything? The bad news is that 100% code coverage does not mean that our code, your code, works perfectly. Why? Because of a few reasons. Shortly said, this may be due to the fact that even our test may not be perfect. We may not be sure that we have written the best tests and that we are checking the good conditions, the good resulting conditions. For sure, working BDD gets us closer to writing good tests because, because we are driven by the business goals. So we keep in mind which the right things are and we're trying to address them. So working BDD, we may also gain some quality of the codes, of the tests that we have written. But it still does not mean that our code works perfectly. If we would like to do one more step, we should think about what mutation testing is. Mutation testing means that, very briefly said, we have some suite of tests, and there are some frameworks that work with our suite of tests and say, okay, you run the test and they are green now. And they work at the level of the bytecode, do some changes. For example, change a condition if something says if not something. And they are expecting in this test, in this case, the test to fail. That is a very good check of the quality of the test that we have written. That may show us the good quality of our tests. So that's mutating testing, but this is a different topic. We have stopped here at the level of BDD, working BDD with Cucumber, and showing the big advantages, the big benefits of working this way, both for the business analyst, for the developers, for understanding the business goals, for following the business goals, for shortening the length of the code. So as we are at the end of our presentation, we are expecting now your questions answered, so please address them into the chat. The presentation is finished now. We have covered everything, both PowerPoint presentation. We have alternated it with the practical demonstration. We had 3 approaches of developing some tests: pure TDD, some incipient BDD with JUnit 5, some pure BDD with Cucumber. So please address your questions into the chat. We're still here at least for some minutes to read and answer. So we see here that we have a question saying, besides Cucumber, what other automation tools do you recommend for testing? The answer is depends on what you are thinking as automation tools. More exactly, if you are talking about BDD, behavior-driven development, you may choose between Cucumber, JBehave, Selenium. I presume that was the meaning of the question. Automation tools for BDD. So if you would like to go this way, most likely you can choose between Cucumber, JBehave, and Selenium. If we think in a larger way, for example, let's say that we would like to go to this mutation testing that I have briefly mentioned here. There is a tool called PyTest, P-I-T-E-S-T, that is a tool for checking the quality of the tests also by using the mutation strategy that I have mentioned. And of course, we have the ground for unit testing, which best thing at this time that we have used is JUnit version 5. Other questions, please. So we have another question here. So for a beginner tester in automation, what trainings do you recommend for learning the basic principle of automation QA? We have very good training here at Luxoft. It is a training entitled exactly JUnit 5. We discuss about this framework, which is at the ground, at the basis of all other concepts, including BDD. So Luxoft is providing a 12 hours training of JUnit 5, which is a very good start into this domain. And we'll prepare some BDD training at a later time, probably this year. Do BDD tests work with integration testing when other dependencies are required during tests? We should talk here about what a test pyramid strategy means. When you mentioned integration testing is one level into the pyramid. At the ground of this pyramid, we have the unit testing. So you may think as unit as a class or method. When you say integration testing, what our attendee Horia was asking about, it means that we are at the next level. We have more classes or more packages that work together, and we would like to understand that they are correctly working together. Next step is system testing. So we may work with a larger system. Eventually, we may depend on some external system, for example, a database, and we would like to understand that it is working correctly. BDD, getting back to this BDD idea, most likely addresses the top level of this pyramid, which is acceptance testing. Acceptance testing means that is the product accepted by our customers? Is the product accepted by our users? And in order to be accepted, it has to show that it is following the needs and the scenarios of the real user. So BDD, Cucumber, or eventually with some other framework, most likely address the top level of this pyramid from top to down now. Acceptance test at the top, system testing, second level integration testing that Jorge was asking about, and unit testing, the ground one. And we have here another question. 80% cover, is it by BDD test or unit testing including? This includes everything. There are things that may be better addressed at the level of unit, and other things that are better addressed by BDD. If the question is, now we have some additional question, how much by BDD in real life projects? It is very important to cover all scenarios. So if we go back here and we discuss with our business analyst, and we establish together that these 4 scenarios are everything that he or she as a business analyst or representing the customer would need, then that will be enough. These are the 4 scenarios that our application needs to address. So it depends on the business logic and on our understanding with the customer, with the business analyst. And some more question, in BDD, it makes sense to speak about scenarios coverage, not code coverage. I would say that the scenarios coverage should always be 100%. So if, let's presume that we have the following situation. We have an ATM. And the first scenario is, I have my card, I introduce my card, I introduce the wrong PIN, I should be shown an error. So this is scenario 1. Do we need to check the scenario? Of course, yes. Scenario 2, we have an ATM, given an ATM. When I introduce my card and I introduce the correct PIN, and I try to extract more money than I have, then I should be shown not enough funds. This is the second scenario. Do we need this scenario? Of course we need. Third scenario, given an ATM, when I introduce my card, I introduce the correct PIN, I extract 50, and I have 100, then I should be provided 50, and in my account should be 50, eventually minus some commission. Do we need this scenario? Of course we need. So from the point of view of the scenarios, these ones need to be discussed with the customer, with the business analyst. And we will always need to cover all needs, everything that is required by the business analyst and by the customer in terms of scenarios. Imagine that from the 3 scenarios that we have, you are missing one. Then your application will not be good. Your application may be in danger. Any other question? Let me provide you some. No. We have a question here, said how to handle situation when given step fails. Is it okay to have assertions in given or whence or in the then part? The assertions should be in the then part. So but we may have some failure into the given or when part. For example, we may have a thrown exception. So we are not checking anything from the point of view of assertions, but we find out that our application is throwing an exception. Of course, we should address this. But when you think about pure assertions, pure checking against some expectations, like here, for example, these ones should always be done into the then part. Anything else? You may check something here to our trainings. Soon you are going to receive the recording of this webinar, so you can replay it. You may arrive to new questions. You may arrive to new points of view. Please get back to us if you have some more ideas. Please get back to us if you are interested in some particular training or in some particular technology. Okay, so I understand there are no more questions. Thank you. Thank you for having attended. And we will be waiting for you into our next webinar. Thank you again.